Hey neighbor, got any sugar? Hello.
Standing out in our new home. Beautiful view of Cinderella Castle, Space Mountain, Splash Mountain, Fantasyland, Be Our Guest Castle. The monorail's coming by. We get to watch it go all the way around the park, or halfway around, I guess.
Yeah. Because they're saying it's cool.
Down by the Grand Floridian. So we're about to go by the Grand Floridian?
Yeah. We are very excited about it.
Yeah, I love this. I mean, you can see the parking lot, but I'm not looking at the parking lot because I'm looking beyond it because we're so high up.
Right.
If you were lower, you'd see more of the parking lot. Yeah.
How is today?
Interesting.
Yeah.
It was very different for us dealing with rain and a baby.
Yeah. Hopefully we can hear you. Down there is a little loud. Just that, machine or whatever. I don't know what it is. But you were saying rain and baby?
Yeah, I mean, it was the first time with us for a rain in the theme park with the baby all day long. I think we've kind of experienced a little bit here and there a couple of days. We didn't plan on a rainy trip. We planned on a hot trip, so we tried to find ways to stay cool, but we didn't think of ways to stay dry or things to do. So we had a great time at the Dumbo play area.
That
really
saved
helped.
it.
Yeah. And then by the time we got out of there, it was done raining. But I mean, it was tough. I mean, especially when Lee napped, we just walked around the park getting drenched.
Like we could have got ponchos, but we were like already wet. But
And I don't know, then you just take them off all the time, on and off, on and off, on and off.
right. So there were ways, but yeah, we
Because
just.
every time we went to meet a character, they were like, make sure all your ponchos are off to everybody in line.
Yeah, we were saying even more so than like keeping ourselves dry. Because again, I think we didn't get ponchos because it was like we really didn't care about us. It was more Lee, and we weren't able to keep them dry because thankfully we had the rain cover. But because of that, it was harder for him in that we were constantly taking him in and out of the stroller, and he was just in the stroller more than he's used to, and it was kind of like, kind of dumped it. But he was really good for having someone take him in and out that much. But it was really because it was raining enough where we really couldn't hold him. I covering the view.
Yes, you're covering my view. I can see Cinderella Castle, Space Mountain.
Before, like when it wasn't raining, we would say, oh, we're on Main Street, all we have to do is go to Fantasyland. Like, I don't mind holding him while we do that, or holding his hand and letting him walk a little bit. But that distance would have been too much. Like, even just like getting out of the stroller and going into a ride was like too much rain. Because the problem with Disney is, for some reason, even when it's cold rain, they keep the air conditioning on, so it's freezing. And there were a couple moments where he like kind of went like this, and I was like, oh, it's cold. But he seemed okay. It ended up working out. And unfortunately, we did have a sweater for him, but it was packed away in storage.
Because we were transferring rooms.
We didn't have a room. So it was a mix of like a few things.
Because normally we could have just come back and grabbed some stuff.
Yeah. But again, everything we're saying and what we said to each other was like, okay, yeah, all these things kind of didn't go perfectly, but at the same time, like, we're in Walt Disney World.
Right.
So
and we got cold and we got wet, but Lee, for the most part, stayed dry and he was okay, you know.
Yeah. He slept, he did another like 25-minute, so that was good. And again, like you were saying, the Dumbo play area like kind of saved the day.
He also loved the hub grass.
Yes. Oh, we're just looking back on pictures today. We kind of, when we come out here, one of the first things Joe does is go down my Disney experience, or whatever they call it nowadays, and was downloading pictures, and we just like crack up. I don't know what it is, and I don't know if we talked about this already on the balcony, but he, for some reason, the cameras that the PhotoPass has, or the outfits the PhotoPass people have on, like he just knows, like, just to like pose. He does. It's like the same, like, he like leans his head in and just like.
And it's a lot of times it's like a small straight face smile or just a very. Yeah.
And it's so funny, I'm showing, while he's doing that, I'm looking at pictures on my phone. I'm like, we were trying to take pictures of the hung grass, and Lee was not having it. Again, not like upset, but just like a wiggly worm, and I'm trying to contain him. It's just like all these pictures of Lee looking. And we like trying to post them. So like clearly, for whatever reason, our iPhones and we cannot get him to pose, but something about PhotoPass, and he is like all about it. He's just like so cute. He's the cutest. Yeah, he went down probably just before 7.
Yep, he took a bath tonight.
He did, yeah.
And enjoyed walking around in his robe, looking out the window at the monorail.
He had dinner there.
Yeah, he had dinner with a view.
Yep.
Part of dinner.
And we've actually done like quite a few sponge baths to get rid of like everything that is on it, but we haven't done like a lot of really like heavy baths. So try not to do those too much because it does have sensitive skin, but yeah, he enjoyed his bath tonight. And now we're in this room. That's pretty much the day, right?
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, now we're just enjoying waiting for the fireworks, but not hoping they don't come too quick. We're just enjoying the view.
I know.
It's funny because you can see across the way at the Grand Floridian, but all of a sudden earlier we were talking about it and then we looked away and then we looked back and you couldn't even see the Grand Floridian. It was so cloudy, or there was a big rain that came through, but you couldn't even see it. Yeah, we couldn't see like Splash Mountain over there. You could barely see the castle.
It was raining sideways, thankfully not sideways in to our balcony. Yeah, we were saying when we thought it was going to rain all day, one thing we thought like was, oh, we're not going to get to see Streetmosphere. We still didn't, even when the rain stopped, but that is just so funny. I think that's the one thing we said we were going to look forward to. And
I'm watching people go down Splash Mountain.
That's awesome. That was the thing we like. I was really looking forward to it, that I imagine we do a lot of, but I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because it's busier than I was imagining, or Lee just likes to move around more. But like, yeah, we just haven't been moseying, I think, around the park as much as I thought we were.
Right.
You agree?
Yeah, I agree. And some of our favorite shows aren't even there anymore. It's been hard. I think his schedule doesn't work great with theirs. Like today we were like, all right, let's go see what schedules. And Dapper Dans were done for like the day.
Yeah.
Or they had one more, but it was at like 5.
Yeah. But again, it's not that it didn't live up to our expectations. It's more that like our expectations just changed. Like, you know, or not our expectations, but yeah, our plans just changed, and we ended up liking altogether doing this more than doing Streetmosphere. So.
You can see the TTA when it comes by.
Oh yeah, I forgot. There it goes. Nobody's waving at me. Just thinking kind of about expectations, like I was just saying, it just reminds me of how I know it's particularly important for someone like me, because I do have quite the imagination and I can build up moments before they happen. Joe can attest to that. But I really tried not to for this trip because I knew it probably wasn't going to go as I thought it would. And I try not to with any trip. And I think that's why I don't like to be a part of the planning process at all, because I feel like if I am, then I will have expectations and maybe I might be disappointed. Whereas if you don't have too many expectations, then things just go as they go and you enjoy them as they happen. So I don't know, that's just something for me that works. But I know for you, you probably don't carry it away, so you just love to plan.
Right.
What do you love about the planning process?
Being in control, knowing what's coming next. I don't like surprises.
But surprises happen at Disney, so what happens when a surprise happens?
And so usually it's a good surprise. But sometimes if you don't have any plans, to me that's bad because then I'm like, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, whenever people have said to us, because people have made comments before, like, you guys plan too much, or Like I remember we took a trip to California and we had gotten some comments because Joe had like basically put together this huge binder of just like every review of every, because it was Northern California for the Redwoods, and you need to come up with like every review of every
Trail
you could go on, all these different places that we might hit on the drive there.
Yeah.
And I remember someone being like, oh, I like to be spontaneous, and they were like kind of really mean about it, and I was just like, no, you don't get it. We are spontaneous. What Joe is doing is researching, and we are putting plans in place, but when you do that, you just have to be flexible.
Right.
So an example of how that worked out for us is Joe took all this research when we were just walking around San Francisco, and we just we were just randomly like walking aimlessly, and we went by, what was it?
Lombard Street.
Lombard Street, and I had no idea. I'd never heard of this street in my life, and I think I even just said it. I was like, oh, okay, we're on the corner of this, and you're like, wait, what? You're like, Lombard Street? You're like, oh, when I was researching, I heard that this is the
windiest street in the world or whatever.
In the world. And I'm like, what? And you couldn't see it from where we were. Like, we were like way far down on it, and then we were like, oh, okay, well, let's look into this more, and then we found out it was just like up the hill.
Yeah.
Up the hill. And we went there, and it was like the coolest experience, and we never would have seen that. Another one was on our drive there. We saw, what was it, the Glass Beach.
But I had picked out like 8 different things along the way.
Exactly.
And that's the one we stopped at.
Exactly. And never would have went to this beach, ever, ever, ever. And Joe had just researched about it.
And the entire beach was sea glass.
Yeah.
From an abandoned trash dump.
Yeah.
And it smoothed out over the years, and you just could step on all the broken glass because it was all smoothed out by the waves over the decades.
Yeah. This quote probably doesn't perfectly relate to this, but one of my favorite quotes is I'm probably gonna say it wrong, but maybe I'll figure out what it is and write it in here if we edit this. But it's something like, luck is when opportunity meets preparation. And I think that is true. You know, when people say like, oh, you're so lucky for this, you're so lucky for that, and I'm like, yes, you're right. In some ways, this opportunity just struck me, and maybe it didn't strike someone else. But at the same time, I was prepared for it, and I was ready to take that opportunity. Whereas the opportunity could strike someone else, but if they weren't prepared to take it, then they weren't as lucky. So,
right.
We could talk about that. We can talk about this some other time. That's enough about me babbling on, at least to the camera. I'll keep babbling on to Joe, so I think we're just going to enjoy the rest of the view. I love it. Again, this is part of our luck, I think.